Buenos días. Es el viernes y son las 12. Hello, everyone. It's Friday and it's 12 o'clock, so it's time for Community Spanish, broadcasting every Wednesday and Friday at 12. I hope you're having a nice day. It's quite snowy here in Boston. Nevertheless, I'd like to go ahead with our lesson for today, continuing with our Repaso review series. First, a quick couple of announcements before we get into the topic for today. First announcement is that the January class schedule is posted, as I've been mentioning the past few videos. So if you'd like to get into a class in 2021, those schedules are up on the website now, so you can check out the different levels, the different schedules, all the things that we're offering in January for our online classes. And the other thing I wanted to announce is something that's just quite fresh for today, that we just published another holiday gift guide. Last week, we published a holiday gift guide of Rola, specifically Rola products, so things that you could get someone for this holiday season. But today we've also then posted kind of a new version of a holiday gift guide, and this time these are all non-Rola products. These are all with our Amazon partners. So we've kind of put together a list of resources that we've used in our own classes for supplemental materials and things that we recommend. So that is now posted up on our website, on our blog. So you're welcome to check that out if you'd like to see some other potential options. Again, we included a lot of different types of resources too. So not only just like textbooks, but like things for you to practice reading, things to practice your listening, other kinds of skills, and for all of our different languages. So there's a lot of different products up there for you to check out if you're still looking for one of those, holiday gifts, either for yourself or for someone else. Let's get into now our topic for today. So as I said, continuing in a repaso or review series, and we've been working on the Presente Progresivo, the present progressive, in the most recent videos. And so we're going to continue on in that review. And we had been doing most recently with the AR verbs, but now today we're going to be starting to take a look at the verbs that have stem changes. And so if you do need a little bit of extra review for this topic, before we even get into the review, like if you've never learned these before, or you're feeling like super rusty, you might want to check out the original video that I've made on this topic before you get to this review that we're doing today here. And that's up on our website on rolalanguages.com on the Facebook Live page of the website. You can find all of the previous videos we've done, including a lot of extra worksheets too. So there's a lot of good resources up on that page that are free for you to use, and we're welcome you to share them around with anyone. So if you want to check out any of those videos, you're welcome to do that before you come back here for the review. But now without further ado, let's go ahead, and we're going to continue on and do the exercise together as we usually do. And so as I said, this is a review, so I'm going to be going through this exercise with at least a bit of an expectation that you have learned some of these things before, have a basic familiarity. And so if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, again, you're welcome to check out the original videos. But meanwhile, as we go through this activity together, I'm going to be walking you through it, but I do encourage you to offer up your own answers in the comments as we go through to see what your answers would be. So por favor, escribe tus respuestas en los comentarios abajo. So let's get started. So número uno, so we're putting, as we've been doing in many of these review exercises, we're doing some practice translations where we can put together essentially all the different skills that we need to do to make sentences in Spanish, between the grammar, the vocabulary, and the purpose of this type of exercise where we give you all of the pieces, as you can see in the table in front of you, is the idea is to help really train your brain on the kind of the order of the sentence. So like I put this element and then this element and this element, and that way once you practice doing things in this way, it makes it easier for your brain to think, when you're free thinking, you want to make your own sentences where you don't have a chart in front of you, it kind of makes it second nature to you to be able to put together the right elements you need to form correct sentences. So that's why we're practicing in this way. Okay, so starting with número uno, he is following the teacher. He is following the teacher. So again, we're putting together all of the elements we need based on what we can find in the chart in front of us. So he is going to be Ed, and then is following. So here's where the stem change comes into effect. It comes into play here. So we see the verb that we're working with here is seguir, but the thing that we're doing here that's kind of something for us to pay special attention to, is that with the verb seguir, we're going to be changing the E to I. We can see here in all of the forms in the chart, we can see that siguiendo is actually the correct present progressive participle that we're going to be using here. So if you keep in mind, keep an eye out for those. And there are several verbs that work like this that have this stem change. While stem changes in general are not super common in present progressive, there are a few key verbs that do that. So we do need to have a little bit extra practice to help us to be well aware of these kind of verbs. And so the verb we're using today is seguir, but this is something we're going to see in upcoming videos too as we practice with more of these irregular verbs with the stem change. Okay, so going ahead with our sentence here, we have él está siguiendo. We can see from the chart that's the form that goes along with él. And then the teacher. So here's our bit of vocab, which is al profesor. So él está siguiendo al profesor. And as I put these up on the screen, please always feel free to repeat these along with me to help you to not only internalize the answer, but also to help you work on your pronunciation as we do these videos. So, él está siguiendo al profesor. Número uno. Okay, número dos. You all are following the path. You all are following the path. So you all is going to be ustedes. I'm going to go with ustedes. If you want to do this version for if you were speaking Spanish in Spain, we would use vosotros. But given that we use ustedes in all the other countries outside of Spain, that's going to be my default. So ustedes, and then the form going with ustedes is están siguiendo, and then the path. So our vocab here is la senda, la senda. So por favor repite conmigo, ustedes están siguiendo la senda. Ustedes están siguiendo la senda. Okay, y número tres. We are not following until the end. We are not following until the end. So here is the next one where we're going to be using our first negative. Okay, so we're going to start with the we, so nosotros, and then making sure that our negative word is going to come before the verb. So we're going to put no in front of estamos. So nosotros no estamos siguiendo, and then our last bit for the vocab, until the end, hasta el fin. So all together we have nosotros no estamos siguiendo hasta el fin. Número cuatro. I am following the crowd. I am following the crowd. So here we're going with yo, and estoy siguiendo for the yo form, and then the crowd. This is one of my favorite words to say in Spanish, la muchedumbre, la muchedumbre. I think it's just very fun to say. So, yo estoy siguiendo la muchedumbre. Yo estoy siguiendo la muchedumbre. Okay, número cinco. We're already halfway there. You all in Spain are not following the teacher. So here's where we're going to use the vosotros for the you all in Spain. Vosotros. And then we have another negative, so we need that no to go ahead of the verb. So vosotros no, and then we can see from the chart, or hopefully from your memory at this point, that the form going with vosotros is estáis siguiendo. So vosotros no estáis siguiendo the teacher, al profesor. So por favor repita conmigo, vosotros no estáis siguiendo al profesor. Okay, super. Número 6. You are following until the end. You are following until the end. So going with tú for the you. And there's no indication that it should be formal like usted. So we're just going to go with our default, which is tú. So tú estás siguiendo. Again, with that stem change. Not siguiendo, but siguiendo. Tú estás siguiendo until the end. Hasta el fin. Tú estás siguiendo hasta el fin. Okay, número 7. They are following the footprints. They are following the footprints. So here we're going to go with ellos, or you could use ellas if you prefer. So ellos, and then the form, the same as the usted. This one we have practiced before. So ellos están siguiendo, and then the footprints. Here's our first use of this vocab word, so we might need to go back to the chart to check it out. And it's las huellas, las huellas. So ustedes están siguiendo las huellas. Okay, so, sorry, ellos, I said ustedes. Ellos están siguiendo las huellas. And pay special attention to this vocabulary word of huellas, that you're going to not pronounce the H, the H is always a silent letter, so make sure you don't pronounce that. So it's not huellas, but huellas, and then keeping in mind that double L is going to make the Y sound. So that's how we get the pronunciation huellas. Ellos están siguiendo las huellas. Muy bien. Okay, número 8. I'm going to scroll up a little bit so we can see down. I am not following the instructions. I am not following the instructions. Yo, and then with our negative, so no. Yo no estoy siguiendo the instructions. Was las instrucciones. This is also our first usage of this vocabulary word. Yo no estoy siguiendo las instrucciones. Por favor, repite conmigo. Yo no estoy siguiendo las instrucciones. Muy bien. This can be good or it could be bad. We don't know how that's going to turn out. Número 9. She is following the path. She is following the path. So we're going to go with ella for she. And the form which él, ella, and usted all share is está. So ella está siguiendo. And then we have the path, which from our vocab was la senda. La senda. Ella está siguiendo la senda. Por favor, repita. Ella está siguiendo la senda. Okay, muy bien. Already to número 10. We're flying through this exercise. Okay, número 10, you formal are not following the crowd. So here's our first usted, because it says you formal, so we need to be more polite with usted. And then we have this negative, so that's where our no is going to come into place. So usted no. And then the form which we just practiced with ella, so it's going to be the same, está siguiendo. And then the crowd, one of my favorite vocabulary words, la muchedumbre. So all together we have usted no está siguiendo la muchedumbre. Por favor, repita conmigo. Usted no está siguiendo la muchedumbre. Muy bien. All right, so that's the end of this exercise. But as I mentioned, please do feel free to go back to our website if you would like to check out the original video I made with more practice. And we are going to continue to do more exercises similar to this one to practice with more of these stem changing present progressive verbs. And now a question that I have gotten from some of my students, and you might be wondering at this point, is how do I know if a verb is going to be stem changing or it's not? And there's kind of a two-part answer to that will help guide you for the other verbs you may encounter. And so the first question is you just have to know it, which is, I know it's really frustrating as a language learner, but there is just an element of memorization with this. So some of these you just have to learn it, that this verb is a stem changing one. And the thing that I guess you could say is a little bit handy is that if you're getting to the point that you are starting to learn present progressive, that means you probably learned the present tense first. And it's very common that verbs that are irregular in the present are also irregular in the present progressive. So in that way, you might already have the built-in knowledge to know which ones you should probably make irregular in the present progressive if you've already learned the present tense, which you most likely have, because that's the first tense you might learn when you start learning Spanish. So you do have a little bit of an advantage in that way. And the second thing to mention is that sometimes there are particular patterns of verbs that you say like, oh, if the verb looks like this, then it's more likely to be irregular. And that's something that it's also a little bit of the memorization, because you have to just learn these patterns as you start to see them as you learn more and more verbs. But again, it's a tool that you can learn to help you have a pretty good shot at predicting when a verb is going to be irregular. So those are a couple of tips I can give you to know about when you have to use these irregularities in the stem change versus just keeping the verb regular. So hopefully there's some helpful tips. I'll be back again. Actually, it's going to be a while till I will be back again, because normally my schedule is Wednesday and Friday on Community Spanish, and because our Rola vacation is starting as of next Wednesday, so I actually probably will not see you all until January 6th, actually, for the next Wednesday that will be in session. So I hope you have a great holiday break, and I'll see you coming up next Wednesday. Gracias y adiós.